right, we are back. This is Off the Edge. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Cameron Lynch, and we have our first ever special guest, Chris Harris Jr., Rock Chalk Jayhawk legend, Broncos legend, and hopefully future Hall of Famer, because I think he deserves it. Chris Harris Jr., how the hell are you, man?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me and welcome me to the show.
Absolutely. Before we dive into that, because we have a lot to talk about with Chris, and we appreciate his time, just want to let you guys know that Bet Online is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. Bet Online continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting, your favorite casino and card games available right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code Bleav to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So, Chris Harris Jr., welcome to Off the Edge. We're excited to have you. I'm just going to dive right into it. Ask you the first question. What was your college and UDFA experience like, my guy? Because you had a little bit of a different journey than, just not a lot of players get to go through what you went through. So, what was that like?
It was I came in during a lockout year, so it was already, everything was already out of whack, and it was, it was a time period of which none of the agents had conversations with the teams after the combine. So after you had that combine, you couldn't really talk to teams up into that draft. You had like a limited space in which they were working. Like the coaches it wasn't like the coaches were working like 24/7. You know how they are now in the gym. Everybody's in the building. It wasn't like that, So by the time the draft came, after that, it was zero communication. Usually after the draft, they pick the undrafteds also, right? So even the undrafteds know what team they're going to be on as soon as the draft is over, at least the next day, or sometimes that same day, And it was just a totally different situation. I had to wait all the way up until the end of July once the lockout got lifted. So I just pretty much stayed training, stayed ready. I really didn't even know if I was going to be able to have an even chance to go to the NFL, Just my agent was just telling me, stay ready. I'm definitely going to have some looks for you when it's time, when the lockout gets lifted. And once it got lifted, I had a chance to go to the Dolphins. I think it was Denver, and it was one more other team. I can't remember. But it was out of those teams. It was out of three teams. And Denver just had to be I thought was the best place for me to go, even though it was my lowest amount. I signed a $2,000 signing bonus, and I was the last one chosen. But I thought it would be the best chance for me to go there, just because they had a whole new regime. Elway was coming in, they were firing everybody. Everything was like a clean slate. So I thought that would be the best chance for me to hop in an organization.
Wow, that's crazy. And I put my hand up when you said $2,000. Because when I went to the Rams, it was the same thing. It was $2,000 to say, hey, this is $2,000 for you to get your shirt and your shorts, but there's no guarantee you'll come back. So I can relate to that in a little bit. And one thing too, Chris, I want to talk to you about. You think about like the Knuckleheads podcast, right? On Players Tribune, that first question they ask is, who was the first person to bust your ass? And I'm not going to ask you that, right? Because in football, it happens more often than not, right? So the goal is to get yours before you get got. Mine was Jarvis Jones, right? I was on kickoff return. He's playing defensive end coming out of UGA, and he's running down as the L5 on kickoff, and he hit me. And half of my body, everything went completely numb. Just that whole experience with Jarvis Jones. He was the first person to really jump in and get me. So I was just curious what that looked like when it came to when you stepped onto that football field. Who was the first person to either at the wide receiver position to route you up, or who was that person for you?
Man, I came in, I had DT. So going against Demaryius Thomas, going against him, Eddie Royal, Brandon Lloyd. So I had a couple good receivers coming in. He was a Pro Bowler, Brandon Lloyd, at that time. So I got some quick fire, quick action, coming straight into training camp. And that really got me ready for the season, I think. being able to go against a smaller guy like Eddie Royal that was quick and fast, and then be able to go against a big receiver like Demarius Thomas. So that prepared me to go in and to be able to play as a rookie and be able to get all rookie teams. So I think a lot of people think that I didn't have fast success in the league. I really had a lot of success my first couple years in the league right out the gate.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, iron sharpens iron, right? It only makes you better. So I totally hear you there. I gotta ask you, because I know people are gonna tell me to ask you this or ask me to ask you this. Will we see you? Is there any chance we see you on the NFL field this season?
Yeah. I mean, if it's a good opportunity, definitely I'll stay ready and stay prepared. But if it doesn't happen, then it's not a big issue for me. You know, I'm enjoying hanging out with the fam. You know, I played along the years, so I've been able to accomplish pretty much everything in the game. So it's just, but I'll stay ready just in case. You know, if there's a team that's in need, that's in a title run for sure, I'll be ready to go to be able to add my expertise or influence to the team, though. So I'm always open to that. But it just has to take, the right team, right situation, right coach. And I felt like last year was perfect, to go play with the Saints, go play with Dennis Allen, the coach that I had I came into the league having him, and it was just a great experience. And
Yeah, and that's really cool. And the cool part is when we started this show, you just talked about the lockout.
could y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh,
And
okay,
and when
okay.
you open up this show, you just talked about the lockout. You just talked about that moment of uncertainty and not really knowing. So it's like this is not your first rodeo. And also, we were offline. You were talking
Yeah,
about your family, right? You're working out your girls. You're having a good time, pretty much with your team, and you accomplish a lot in life. And so,
yeah.
with that, from what you've been through, what's some of the best advice that you have gotten from a veteran or even a younger guy? Because a lot of
Mhm.
times people don't realize, but you can get mentored upwards, right? Some of these young guys can teach you a lot. I'm sure when you stepped into the league, Demarius Thomas and some of those
Yeah.
guys, you probably showing them things that they didn't even realize. So what's some of that advice that you got come throughout your journey?
Yeah. Man, Brian Dawkins, Champ Bailey. I was blessed to come in with Hall of Fame guys in the secondary and be able to have Big Dog say, "Hey, I want this kid on the field with me. I need him out there with me." That right there just gave me a lot of motivation right there. Champ being able to recognize who I am and be able to say, I need him out there with me too."
Mm-hmm.
That's two Hall of Famers right there that was gladly wanting to play with me out there on the field and was talking to Coach Fox, put this kid out there with us. So it was great. That right there was a lot of motivation for me, gave me a lot of confidence, especially from those guys I think Doc was at like year 16 when I came in the league. He was already, big time vet. So just having those guys giving me confidence, saying, "Hey, you can play. We want you out there with us." That right there gave me enough confidence to know that I can play in this league for a
Wow.
while.
You're a walking Hall of Famer at this point. I mean, you got blessings from other Hall of Famers. So come on, one
Yeah,
plus one equals two at this point.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yes,
No,
sir.
that's a lot of talent. I mean, you said Brian Dawkins, right?
Yeah, Brian Dawkins. Yeah, he was there
Yeah,
my rookie year.
Wow.
that's crazy. I mean, talk about
Yeah,
just the veteran presence there for sure. So let's shift gears a little bit. You're doing a new show on our network, the Bleav Network,
yeah,
and the Let's Ride podcast. Is that
yes, yes,
yes? That I'm very excited about that. You and Patrick Chiotti, you're going to do a great
yeah,
job. How are you feeling? What are you feeling essentially
yeah,
getting to consistently talk about, the team that you played 9 of your 12 years with? You can get to talk about them from maybe that analyst level that, in the
yeah.
past, you might have maybe looked at an analyst and be like, "Oh man, what do you know about what I'm doing?" Now you get to be that analyst. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
Oh man, just try to be fair, and give the people insight, of the game in which they couldn't get from a lot of other different directions, and me being able to have a great experience playing in Denver, understanding the culture, understanding the lifestyle and the expectations that comes with playing there. Hopefully, they get great insight from that. My perspective on how I see the game and how I'm analyzing players and the coaching staff and all the things above, And we're not only just talking about Denver. Not only just talking about the Broncos. We're talking about all the sports. We got to talk about the Nuggets. Talk about the draft. That's going on tonight. We talk about everything. So, and then we also ended off. Always have a segment about my life or things I wish I could help a younger player or the youth or uplift them in life. So it's all we try to be all purpose with it, and I think it's going great so far. And we're just going to continue to just be able to just keep adding, new topics and things that's going on because news never stops. So just keep it going.
Yeah, now that's cool.
News never stops.
That's
I love
facts.
it.
That's facts. And it's gonna be cool to have some other partners, right? You're gonna be doing Let's Ride, and we're gonna be doing the Rams piece in this one. So we're gonna be collaborating a lot. So I'm hype about that. And you said something really key there. You said the culture of the Broncos, that Denver community in general. So what I enjoy is as an athlete, you're taking people places where they have never been inside that locker room. And that's the value of having athletes, becoming these analysts. And so one thing I want to ask you is, in those locker rooms, who are some of your favorite teammates, some of the favorite coaches that people may not really know? They're like, I don't really know that guy, but you're like, yo, trust me, like this guy, he's about his business, he's about his family. Like, what did that look like for you?
Yeah. Oh man, I had a lot of great teammates, man. It's a long list, of course, but I gotta go with my ace, Von Miller. We came in together. That's my boy. We challenge each other every day. Make sure you shut down the back end, or he tell me to. Man, I'm telling him, make sure you get to the quarterback. So we working hand in hand with everything that we do. Also, a great teammate I had. Even last year, Tyrann Mathieu, first time getting to play with him, seeing how he operates, seeing how he studies and prepares for the game. Marshawn Latimer, him. These guys I haven't got to play with, so I got to see those guys, how they transfer and play on the field. And one quarterback, I would say, I'll give a quarterback, of course, Peyton. But a young quarterback, I go with Herbert, man. Just seeing how he prepares, seeing how he works out, seeing how he gets ready for the game. I think he's going to have a great long career. Those are a couple guys, a couple teammates that I've had over the years that really impressed me and how they prepare and how they get ready for games.
Wow. And this is coming from someone who's undrafted and has made it this long in the league, right? You talk about preparation.
Yeah.
Like we, as undrafted people, Jake, we have to be prepared because one thing I would say is like if we don't make a play on the football, and I would listen to some of your clips, Chris, you would say, "Hey, get your hand on the football this game," right? And so what I realized even in practice, if as undrafted people, if we don't touch the football in practice, that means our production points are low. And that means we might not come back to the same house or bed that we slept in that night. And so that's extremely important. That's cool to hear that these guys that are Lattimore and Herbert are preparing the way that you prepare, right? So that's, or in a similar way. So that's really cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Chris, I wanted to get your thoughts. It's a little bit different. It wasn't, it's just something that came in my mind. You played on the outside, you played on the inside. So, slot corner, nickel corner, for those that don't know what I'm talking about. So there is a wide receiver who gets a lot of flack from people. He's one of the top receivers in the league, Cooper Kupp, gets a lot of flack from playing in the slot mainly. What is your thoughts on that? Because as even from a corner's perspective, do you feel like it's really that big of a difference? Do you think it's it makes your life that much easier? Or do you say it's just as difficult playing against an NFL slot corner as a receiver, or say a slot corner against a slot receiver as it is playing on the outside?
Man, I've been lucky to see every type of receiver in the book, over this past decade. And Cooper Kupp, he's one of the top, one of the best inside. That's just what it is. The numbers speak for itself, and he has a Super Bowl ring to back it up. But also, a guy when I came in, it was Wes Welker. That guy was him and Tom Brady. Their connection was unbelievable. It was hard to stop, and it was almost harder to stop them in the inside because there's a lot of option reps. Just get open, and that's what Kupp is doing. Just getting open, right? And they can't stop it, and that the offense is built for him to do that. And until you got to double team this guy, you can still, the way the league is now, you can still double team. You can double team it from the inside now, right? It used to be, hey, we could just double team outside, but now you can shut down the inside. But this guy's getting double teamed and still coming out with 10 catches, right? So that has to show you that He's a productive receiver. He knows how to get open. I played him a couple of times. I don't know if he did anything big numbers versus me. I don't know. But he's always been a solid receiver, man. So I love his game, and he definitely deserves that respect for what he's doing.
And just a quick follow up there. So you're saying essentially like players are going to, have production no matter what. We shouldn't take away necessarily anything from their game if they're doing it on the outside or the inside. Production's production. Right. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yeah. A lot of these receivers have to go inside. They have to move all the way around the field.
Thank you.
You don't see Justin Jefferson just playing on the outside. He doesn't do that. Devontae Adams just doesn't play on the outside. Tyreek Hill doesn't do that. So you got to be able to be a versatile receiver, play all over the field to be productive, and that's just what it is now in the NFL. If you want to just play one side of the field all game, like who was that? Who used to do that in the past? Marvin, right? He only played on the right side.
Oh man.
Yeah. I know the Wi-Fi is going out a little bit, but. And I just want to share my experience too. Like playing linebacker, Jake, we had to know each position. We had to know outside linebacker. We're blitzing the quarterback, right? As a Sam, we're lining up on the edge. And mind you, I'm only 6 feet tall playing the Sam position. That's more like guys that are 6'2", 6'3". Then I got to line up behind the box. I got to know how to play Mike and all that. So Chris, I know we lost you there for a little bit, but I was just explaining playing linebacker. Yeah. As you know, in drafted, I'm only 6 feet tall, Chris. So when I first got to the Rams, I had to go down as the Sam linebacker. So the linebacker that was holding that edge, and I'm only 6 feet tall. Usually those guys are about 6'1", 6'2", but that didn't matter because they want to know that you are valuable. No matter where we put you on the field, can you be productive and what does that look like? And then even going back to your point, Chris, that slot position, you got so much space in the field. When you line up on the outside as a receiver, you got a couple of things that you can do, but the inside, you got the whole field to play with. So it's actually tougher to defend as a cornerback, maybe to defend all that space. So, Chris, I know you were explaining a few things, but I want to ask you, I was going to ask you about your top 5 cornerbacks that are playing right now, but let's not even go to that. We're still on the receiver piece. Who are some of the top 5 receivers that you went against? Some of your favorite matchups, like, ooh, I got him this week. Yeah. Let me get extra sleep tonight. Let me make sure I eat my Wheaties.
Yeah. Man, in my career, of course, it was the top receivers was AB. Of course, Antonio Brown was an elite receiver. Julio Jones, AJ Green. I mean, I play AJ almost every year. It seemed like play the Bengals. Tyreek Hill with the Chiefs. Seeing him grow up into the receiver that he is. I had to deal with him when he was raw. He couldn't get out the jam. Right now, he can get out the jam, run routes. He can do the total package, right? Those guys right there. Now I would say you got to add in a guy like Justin Jefferson, a guy that can play all over the field, elite guy, Cooper Kupp. Who else is a nice receiver on the outside? Let me get a big receiver.
What about Mike Evans? You play Mike Evans a lot?
It's not too
many.
You
play Mike Evans at all?
Big Mike, yes, play Mike. We didn't play. We played him like twice. I think you got to play him like every 4 years. We don't really play the Bucks. We never really played. We never really played the Bucks, the NFC too much. Keenan Allen. I don't know how I forgot about Keenan Allen with the Chargers. That was a rival for many years. So those guys right there, what I would say would probably be a lot of the top receivers, mainly AFC because that's where I had to see the most.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's an important distinction too. I think before people come at you in the comments section, understand Chris played for the Broncos, played for the Chargers, and played for the Saints. So you didn't get to play necessarily everybody in the NFC because people are constantly leaving teams and whatnot. You'll miss them. And I think, predominantly like the AFC West, you'd be familiar with the receivers and such. I'm glad you said, Keenan Allen. I mean, the guy he is just a ridiculous, release package coming off the line of scrimmage. I mean, just his footwork is unbelievable, always has been. And, it's funny when Cooper Kupp was coming in the league, I compared him to Keenan Allen because I felt like, why did Keenan Allen go in the 3rd round? Like, what are we missing here? But then again, Chris, why were you undrafted? It's like, I don't know. Like, 32 teams and a lot of misses, combined with all those 32 teams. But I will ask you, with, that top 5 cornerback conversation that we've been having. We ranked all the positions on our show, and if you had to have a hard top 5, who's in your top 5 for the cornerbacks in this league?
Top 5, man. This is gonna be pretty tough, man. But I'm gonna go with I'm gonna stick with Ramsey, even though I think last year he didn't play to the top, the best of his ability. I'm still gonna keep him up there just off the consistency of his career, of what he's been doing, not just last year, but the past couple years, right? Who else will I put in there? I put Patrick Surtain, right? Seeing his potential and seeing how his size is long frame, 6'2", being able to shut down the boundaries. Third, I would say Alexander from the Packers. He's a guy, he kind of reminds me of me, he kind of plays similar to me. So I love
Yeah.
his game. I love watching Alexander. Another guy, that's 3, right? Let me see, number 4. Ooh, y'all making it tough, man. I like number 4. I'm gonna go with Sauce Gardner. I
Yeah.
think he deserved to be in the top 5 after what he did last year. I mean, he shut down everybody. I think he played against as a rookie. That's impossible to do sometimes. So we'll see how he can do it's harder. It gets harder and harder every year, right? One year you can shut down. Every year it gets harder and harder because the film keeps coming out. But I'm gonna say my last player, my last favorite corner. Let's go with Marlon Humphrey. Let's go with Humphrey.
Nice.
Not a lot of people like Humphrey, but I'll go with Humphrey because I like his style. I like the way he plays. He
Gab
always
doesn't like
forces
his
fumbles,
jersey
so.
number.
44. Yeah, I don't like his number, but it fits him well, I guess.
That's funny. That's funny. And Chris, we actually mentioned it on the podcast. I was like, ooh, Marlon at 44. I don't know. But I was going to ask you, Chris,
Yeah.
you mentioned undrafted, and some of these guys that you just mentioned, they're first rounders, second rounders, third rounders. So what has kept you in the game consistently for so long, healthy, productive? Like what are some of those things? And I want to say that because advice for some of these rookies that are coming in, right? They're in training camp right now. They're probably sleeping during meetings. There's some of the little things that they're probably not doing correctly. So what advice would you give for them to have that longevity in this career and success?
I don't know what keeps going on with my internet, but I would say the thing that's really kept me in the league and kept me healthy was, continue to stay on my rehab, stay on getting my body tuned up 24/7. This thing's in the league. A lot of players, they go to work and they just go back home.
Yeah.
They don't worry about doing. Yeah, they don't even care, man. They just ready to get to the house. They're not doing extra stuff, in the training rooms, getting in cold tub, making sure they stay healthy, getting stretched, making sure they stay flexible, mobile during the season. And I did that all year. You have to do that all year, all throughout your career, nonstop. And that's one thing Champ told me, man. That's one advice right there. Champ told me, he said, man, I wish I would have started stretching way younger. He started stretching like year 10. So I was like, dang, Champ, you've just been doing this on raw talent. But man, that's what you have to do. You have to dedicate time to your body. You can't do anything without your body. That's like your Ferrari. You gotta.
Mm-hmm.
How you gotta take care of your
And
body.
real quick, I want to jump in. What about the mental part of the game? Because like I said, I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, so it's nice to get that helmet off, interaction. And we talk about preparation for the game mentally, like hearing some of your audio clips. A lot of times, a cornerback, you're running most of the time on the field, so you're kind of like some people are not you. Some people are removed from the huddle a little bit, but a lot of times I see you coming into the huddle, reminding your guys, "Hey, third down, let's do this, let's do that." So that just goes to show your preparation. You see what's going to happen before it happens. And some of my favorite examples are like Luke Kuechly and Ray Lewis. So just from your preparation and your mental fortitude when it comes to the game, what did that look like? What do some of these young guys need to take note of when it comes to just preparing mentally and being that next level?
Man, that's what really separated me in the league, being able to come in, play corner, nickel, safety, special teams, be able to play all over the field and not have mental errors, right? Mental errors is the fastest way to get you up out the
Yeah.
NFL,
Yeah.
right? That's the first. That's the first way to give you that bus ticket
Right.
home, right? Messing up on the field, messing up calls, not being on the same page with your teammates, right? So I was able to come in and learn all that pretty fast, learn multiple positions pretty fast, and that's how I was able to get on the field. So that's and taking that preparation into the game so you can play fast, right? Understanding these other guys' tendency, understanding the receiver if he lines up in this split, what routes does he usually run in this split, right? What routes do if he lines up in the slot because he never lines up in the slot,
Yeah.
right? What routes does he run in the
Right.
slot? So just little tips and tactics like that I usually take into the game and how I can read and react so I can play fast, right? That's the thing. You don't want to go out there thinking. You want to be free when it's time to game time. So that's what I try to preach to the younger guys and preach to all the my teammates. Make sure we're prepared. Make sure we're studying, and make sure that we can go out there and play fast, communicate fast, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the stadium, man.
Yeah.
You got all the fans going crazy. If you're on the road, it can be hectic. And even at home, it's the hard. It's really people don't know it's harder for defenses sometimes to play
Yeah.
at home because we can't communicate. The
That's
fans are
true.
loud. It's hard to communicate. So it's being able to be on that same page, mentally studied well together as a unit, so you can go out there and have a great game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally hear you there, and I've seen a lot of clips as well. You're loud, man.
Yeah.
You're loud on the field. Love it.
Oh yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, because I very rarely do you get. I mean, you didn't go to LSU, so it's not like common to see LSU guys all over the place. Or it is common to see LSU. It's not common to see Kansas guys all over the place. So you guys represent. You and Bleav played on the same team, obviously at KU, and you played on the same team with Denver. What was that experience like? Because, I'm sure you're well aware, there's not a ton of Kansas guys in the NFL, unfortunately.
Right. Man, it was a great experience. I think bringing Bleav to Denver was huge for us because we were just moving on from champ. We needed another guy that could come in and play opposite of me and be consistent, and be able to add him a big corner, physical corner. That was huge, and to bring the toughness to our defense in Denver. So that's what we needed, man. So it was great to be able to team up with Bleav. Me and to play off each other. We knew how to play with each other from Kansas. We understood, how to communicate with just, we could communicate on the fly, on the motion, it could be something quick on the motion. Hey, you do this, just some little sign language, that we could do, and we could be on the same page, fast, and be able to have the coverage out right. And we never had a lot of busts, man. We didn't have a lot of busts at all, me and Bleav. So it's just being able to have a lot of great communication, not beat ourselves, play smart. And I think that's what helped us in college win an Orange Bowl, go 12-1. In college, being able to we changed the defense, we feel like being able to shut down even in college, Same thing in the NFL. So be able to win in college and in the NFL, we got that resume for sure together.
I have to say, I still think you guys got screwed out of the BCS title game. I'm just saying, they put a team in with 2 losses. Come on now.
Yeah. Man, that was a crazy year, man, because everybody went to the wire that year.
Oh.
We had Missouri, OU, Florida. It was a lot of great teams. Even Arkansas was good that year with Felix Jones, McFadden. So it was a lot of talent that year, man. Big 12 was packed, man. Texas was loaded. Texas Tech with Crabtree.
Ooh.
Oklahoma State had Dez Bryant and Bowman.
Dang.
Everybody in the Big 12 was loaded. So I had a lot of confidence going in the NFL because I had faced all these guys already. Seen them in the Big 12.
Wow. And
that was the most enjoyable time when I was watching college football. But yeah, I just had to butt in there.
Yeah, no, that's love. I mean, college football is sometimes the best football. And what I'm hearing, Chris, is that great communication that carry from college to the NFL, great communication and limiting mistakes. That's what's going to keep you in the NFL. That's going to keep you successful. You said we didn't have many busts, right? And so as competitors, you don't want many L's or hey, This is a mental error
Yeah.
because y'all missed you missed the communication. Y'all like, no, we're priding ourselves on making
Yeah.
sure we're sharp in what we do. And I know as we wrap this up a little bit, the skills that you
Yeah.
learn on the field, or you from Kansas to the NFL, to your personal life. You mentioned you have daughters, and so how are you taking those skills
Yeah.
from the professional level and then instilling that in your daughters and pushing them forward as they grow in their careers in their
Yeah.
life?
Yeah. Oh man, it's something I definitely had to learn and adjust. Leave the football at work. Be able to come home and you got to be totally different. Atmosphere with all girls.
Mm-hmm.
And can't be extremely hard with girls. Because you have to communicate to them different fashion, right? And being able to train them, go see them. Train them in softball, soccer. They're very active out there. So I just try to, do my best to just show up, give them that encouragement and push them, try to give them that extra push that they need. They live in this big old house, they got pool and all this stuff. So they don't live like how I live. So I got to give them that little mindset like, hey, daddy didn't grow up like this. Daddy had to grind for everything. Nothing was given to me. So just try to give them that mindset and understand that you have to work for everything. Nothing's going to come to you easy. And just try to build up these women right, these little babies right. And that's what we got to do.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. No, I mean, hey, it's a really inspiring story, Chris. Just your entire career, been following it, since KU. So I totally agree with you there. I just have to, ask a, final question here. There have been less than 20 UDFAs that have made the Hall of Fame. Pro Football References Hall of Fame monitor. I don't know if you've checked it, but you're rated ahead of 3 current Hall of Fame defensive backs, in case you didn't know. Do you at this moment feel you have done enough to make the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, definitely. I think I definitely got a chance. If I was first round pick, my accolades would be way better. I came in hot. It took a lot of people probably like to my 5th year to actually understand who I was, And so it took a while for people to catch on. Even though I believe even after my 2nd year in the league, it was a Pro Bowl, All Pro year. People go back and look at that. So I just think that me coming in the way I did, a lot of the stuff it went unnoticed. But I think I was able to get that respect back when I got the All-Decade team. Then people got to see, okay, he was one of the elite players for that decade. And so hopefully that right there is enough to be able to show them. And when they go back and look at my tape, seeing how I was able to play all over the field, be able to still be one of the top players in my era. I'd say the top in our decade, top corners, me, Sherman, Pat P, Bleav, Revis. Revis he was a little ahead of us, but that right there was the elite guys. So for sure, I think all of us right there should be in the Hall of Fame right there for sure, because we was at the top of our games for a long time in this league.
And you're only undrafted guy too. So
you.
come on now,
Yeah.
Come on, Hall of Fame. What's up? Talk to us.
Come
on, Kenton. Let's get this. Well, not yet. I mean, you might actually go back.
That's right.
Yeah, I still got some time, man. If I go back on the field, then my clock stops.
That's great. Yeah. No, I totally hear you. I'm glad you don't play the receiver position, because there's a crazy logjam there, and I don't know. We might be waiting until 2088 for you to get in if you're a receiver. So it's just the way it is. I mean, Torrey Holt's not even in the yet. So we have a quick segment we do at the end of all of our shows to wrap it up. We give a happy birthday to a former player, and I figured this was so fitting. This was perfect. Champ Bailey. Happy birthday to Champ Bailey. I don't know, Chris, if you already said happy birthday to him. So, happy birthday to Champ Bailey. He turned 45 today. So that's
happy birthday, Champ, man. 45. My birthday was June 18th, so shout out to the June babies.
Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday to you too.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it.
Happy belated birthday. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
So that's going to do it for us in Off the Edge. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Go follow Chris Harris Jr. right now, at Chris Harris Jr. on Twitter. Go subscribe to his Let's Ride podcast he's doing over with Patrick Chiatti for Bleav. You can follow me at JK Bogan on Twitter. You can follow Cameron Lynch at Cameron Lynch 50. And it's been a fun episode. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, thank you so much for your time, man. We look forward to collaborating with you throughout the season.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. It's going to be a fun year, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with y'all all throughout the year. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, my guy.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.